Welcome everyone. I'm going to start the series with the Philco model 3761. It's a 5-tube super heterodyne receiver. It has a broadcast band and shortwave reception. It has 5 tubes, the 5Y4G rectifier, the 6A8G detector oscillator, the 6K7G the IF amplifier, 6Q7G, that's the second detector and the first audio amp, and the 6F6G is the audio output. The radio was offered in you could either get it in a console or cathedral, and also the tombstone, which that's what I have here. The cabinet is about 16 inches high, 12 inches wide, and it's a pretty good size radio, but it's probably standard. The top and sides are covered with veneer, and this front is a faux finish, which was going to present a challenge in the future. I'm not sure whether we're going with the painted on faux, the decal faux, or just replace it with veneer. That is to be determined as we go along in this series. So let's get started. Let's get digging in and see where we go from here. Okay, hey guys, welcome back. We'll start doing something with this Philco tonight. I won't get a whole lot done with this particular shoot, but I'm trying to figure out what all this was about. Was this fair and stock clips? Is that how you say that? With two, and that looks like telephone wires, telephone hookup wires. That's what it looks like to me. And the third one here, but it's all on the speakers. So just wondering if we've got a problem with this speaker, and that this was just an external clip that they were using another speaker, or maybe they were hooking it into something else. I don't know. But nonetheless, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull this out of the cabinet and pull the tubes and check those tonight. I did bring it up on the Variac, and I didn't like what I saw. Didn't have any sound, and I was pushing just south of 600 milliamps, and so I shut it off real quick. And so until I find out more about it, I'm gonna not put any more power on it. So let's get this thing out of here and figure out. I'll probably end up cutting these wires. It doesn't have a plug, as a lot of radios did in later years. Okay, got it out of the cabinet. These always get a bag, put your stuff in. Right in the center, it's got the rubber gasket. Of course, it's long gone past. There was 2 screws in here which did not have the gas or the rubber grommets. These in the back here are, here's one. You know, that's not bad. And I'll probably tell you, here's another one. I can get it out using my dental tool that I picked up at a ham fest somewhere years ago. Wish I had my hemostat somewhere. There's the other one in the front. And these are pliable and they're good. They're very good. The reason I say that they're good is because there was no screws compressing them for them to rot. So anyway, I'll have to get some more of those before we go back with this. Let me label these wires and cut these, or I may just go ahead and check these tubes while I got it at this point. Okay, got underneath the bottom. Look, boys and girls, at these Philco paper capacitors. What does that tell you? That it's probably not a whole lot has been changed. Here's the resistor. Looks real good, not much overheating at all. Of course, here's some of the block capacitors here and here. I've got I got a critter growing here on the bottom of that electrolytic. These are wet electrolytics, which I have in the Howard. I've rebuilt those. I don't know if I'll rebuild these or restuff them or not. We will see, but all in all, it looks relatively clean. Kind of knocks me out to have those paper capacitors in there. But okay. So that's the look at the underneath. Definitely going to have to be cleaned up quite a bit. But and the capacitors, these block capacitors will have to be rebuilt, and you've seen those a dozen times at different radios. But let's flip this over, and I'll pull the tubes, and I'll check those and see how those turn out. Hey, I've always heard of these Philco tube shields that are the bases are pop riveted to the chassis. This one has been drilled out, so it was not, and so it was missing. Don't have a tube shield for that. But this one, now, the problem you run into is grabbing the glass, and if you've got any, you don't need to be pulling a tube out with a glass like that. Let me show you what I did. I got under here, and I spritz it with a little bit of WD-40, and the center of the tube itself, I put my thumb on it and pushed it, and bingo. So that's one way to remove that tube. Okay, checking the bias resistors. I'm going to, these drawings to me are inadequate. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some time before I go to bed tonight to blow these up and print them on 4 sheets of paper to have them. Maybe I can read these things, but the bias resistor part number is 333277, and it should read 245 ohms. And I told you that everything looks good physically, which I was checking that, and it's reading 244 ohms. That's great. This particular part of the circuit here is that resistor. Maybe the focus will work there. But anyway, the next stage is 35 ohms. So let's check this particular one. And what does it show? 36 ohms. Alright, then the next section is 8 ohms. So let's just do the ladder. Go up one more. And it should be 8 ohms. And 9, 10 ohms. Okay, cool. And then the last stage of this should be 202 ohms. And since it's got to be because it all adds up. And there's 202 ohms. Alright, that's dead on the money. Number 18 should be 20K. It's located there. It's 21K. So that's checking good. Okay, guys. I've got more resistors to check in the chassis. But something just kept bugging me about not getting any sound out of the speaker. The output tube was good. It was pulling current. And if you'll remember, the speaker coil was disconnected and wired to the back of the cabinet and came out with 2 terminals there. So it told me that something was wrong with the speaker, and that was a fix. Now, a lot of times in 1930 radios, you'll find hacks like that, and you think, well, why did they do something like that? Well, look at the time period. Let's say this went down during World War II. Shortage of material, shortage of parts, so they just did the best they could to make the thing work. Is that what happened? I don't know. But the fact that it was disconnected. So I said, what could be wrong? So I went and I checked the primary of the output transformer, and Philco's real good about you like my big schematic here, guys? The primary of the output transformer is 400 ohms. I checked it, it was 420 ohms. Okay, I checked the speaker coil. It says 1140. Mine measured out, ohmed out at 1177. Now, the secondary, there's no value. The voice coil, the speaker voice coil, there's no value. So, it being disconnected, I looked at it and I threw an ohm meter across it. The voice coil itself was reading 1.2, 1.3 ohms. The secondary of the output transformer was reading 0.6 ohms. Now, I've never run into this before, but there's another set of wires coming out of the speaker coil. I suspect, I've read about this, I've heard about this, and I talked to, I shot a couple of 3 emails off to Don, Restore Old Radios, wealth of knowledge. And I knew if anybody knew, he would know, and he confirmed, and I sent him the schematic, and he confirmed that that is a humbucking coil. I'd never seen one. I'd read about it, heard about it, but never had seen one. And he said it's roughly, should ohm out about 1 ohm or so, and it did. I believe it was 1.1 ohm. but if you'll look on the schematic, this I believe this is the schematic for the humbucking coil, and then this is the schematic that shows the voice coil, which is in series. All right. Now, what threw me off on this whole thing is that voice coil reading right at 1 ohm. You know, I'm associated with 8 ohm speakers and things like that. So, and this is DC resistance, okay? Typically, the rule of thumb is you take your DC resistance and multiply it 1.25, and it gives you the impedance of the voice coil, roughly. Now, that's your, you know, but it's different at different frequencies. And Don has got a good video on the frequency response of a speaker. Go look that up, Restore Old Radios. And anyway, so I went to radioremember.org. It's a website. It's got some neat information on it, a good reference material. Write that down, earmark it, bookmark it for future reference. But anyway, to check an output of a transformer, unknown turns ratio, there's a method on that website to do that. So I just decided to do that. So what I did is, since the secondary was disconnected from everything, I connected my variac on here. I also put my AC voltmeter on the secondary. And then I raised the variac until I got 1 volt AC on this, on the output. Then I took and I measured what the input was. And that was the voltage ratios. Okay? And when I checked the input, it was 86 volts to 1 volt. So that's a turn ratio of 86 to 1. So I end up squaring you square 86 and you come up with roughly 7,500 ohms. I hadn't got the math, but it's somewhere in the ballpark. So I think 7,000 ohms is exactly 83 to 1. And you square that, and it's like 74. So it's the numbers match. So something told me that it should work. So anyway, I drug out my engineering tools, which is you can't do anything unless you've got some alligator clips, and I got some brand new ones there. So anyway, what I've done is I wired the speaker the way, hooked up the antenna, wired it the way that it should be on the schematic, even though it was disconnected for some reason. Now why, don't know. But let's try this and see what's going on. Okay, let's raise it up. I've done been to 50 volts, and just roughly 100 milliamps, and going up to 75, and then usually right around 100 you'll see a spike. Now I know we've got old capacitors in here, and but what's the amazing thing about it is there's 100 volts. Okay, we're just about 450 mils. Now we start getting an increase between 110. I'm going to leave it at 115 volts, and it's just south of 600 mils. But got some Got the local radio station. Now watch what happens when I bump it up. A lot of distortion. But I know I've got some issues to work out with this speaker. May have to recone this. I don't know. We'll see. It's pretty beat up. But the important thing that I learned out of this is those infamous Philco coils are good. So I'm going to end this video tonight. Come back next time recapping. Finish up checking all those resistors, doing the cleanup on this. We solved the issues with this speaker, and we're well on our way to having this thing working. I appreciate my new subscribers. I got 2 to 3 last night, I believe, and I appreciate all the comments and all the people watching. That's what makes this as fun, is being able to share. And if I'm learning something. I've told you, every time I sit down at this desk, I'm learning something, and that's a good thing. All right, so we'll wrap this up. Thanks for watching, and this is Larry from East Tennessee. Until next time.